bigger and bigger role each year at Comic-Con. It's as it turns into more of a media festival versus a comic book festival. So, I think because all these big movies and TV sort of moved in about 4 or 5 years, now I think it's time for gaming. And it's really cool to see so many gamers so enthusiastic about titles they love just as much as they are about seeing movie stars here. So it seems like there's more and more every year.
While E3 is where a lot of people hear about games, Comic-Con's become a place where people actually get to play them. You got 2 games behind you that people have been checking out that I heard you're fans of. What are your thoughts on Thief? Well,
I'm a huge fan of Thief just because I played as a kid. The first Thief, I had a PC, I was a PC gamer, I had Amiga and a PC, and that was, you know, I love especially archery and like more stealth stuff. So that's why, to me, this is kind of my favorite version of an FPS and stuff like that. So that's why I love Thief. And the Castlevania, I have a lot of nostalgia about as well because it was one of the things I had on my original Game Boy. That and Tetris and the pinball one, like I remember as a kid playing it so many hours. Of course, these are like the uber versions of those childhood memories, but having that consistently throughout my life and seeing new iterations that are bigger and better, you know, that as I get older, I mean, I'm gonna play them just as much as I did as a kid.
And part of your Geek and Sundry festival here is video games. What are your thoughts about PC gaming? Because there's been a lot of PC games set up for people to play.
Yeah, well, like I said, I actually didn't have any consoles as a kid. I have some now, but still my default is to play on my PC because it's what I grew up on. I like having a keyboard, I like having the mouse. It gives me, you know, I'm just better at it. And I like the fact that you can, you know, there are a lot of mods that you can add to the games. I mean, Skyrim mods and things like that. Those are my favorite things to add on to games. And I just love the imagination and creativity that seem to have PC gamers have in the games that they play versus the consoles that are just more like locked off. So, I mean, like I said, that's what I do when I finish working. I guess I'll play a game tonight.
So what games do you like to play on your PC?
I love, you know, there's certain games I like playing on my PC better than my console. Sometimes I like to lean back, especially with the first-person shooters. But like for me, all the MMOs obviously I have to play, and I play a lot of games on Steam or just indie games. When I get out like a Humble Bundle or something like that, or download an old game on GOG.com. I mean, all those old school games or even new indie games. That's what I like playing on my PC the most. I mean, versus the more lean back, like I'm gonna sit on my couch in my PJs. You know, it's 2 different kind of things.
What are your thoughts as someone who's involved in entertainment of what they're doing with this cross-pollination, for instance, Defiance is a TV show and a game online at the same time?
I mean, I think it's a really cool trend. I think, you know, all of entertainment is so fractured right now. It's more about world building versus the property or where it is. And I think that people like worlds. So if you're a fan of Dragon Age, you might want to see that in a web series or a TV show or a movie and then play the game. Same thing with the TV show. I don't know if you're going to have like a How I Met Your Mother video game or something like that, but certainly more genre stuff like Defiance or other titles like that. Like if it's a cool world, you want to be in it, whatever format there is.
And PC gamers do know you from Dragon Age. What was it like stepping into that world for real?
I mean, stepping into Dragon Age was amazing. It was an amazing experience, and being able to create a character and have her be playable as well, like that was a dream come true, that project. So I think, you know, obviously it just, I mean, I'm a huge fan of video games, so I get to live in a world where all my video games are deductible, but also I meet people that I fan out over, and they tend to be more the creators of books and video games more than the actors and directors that I meet.
What are your thoughts as an actress about the strong female protagonists that we have seen for years and years in video games?
I mean, I think that there is a really healthy trend. I mean, I remember The Longest Journey is one of my favorite games I played back in the day, and it's an amazing adventure game with a really strong female character, and I remember that being very significant for me. As a gamer, the games that I tend to gravitate toward the most are either role-playing games where I can create a version of myself in the game, or a female character. So recently I played Tomb Raider. I played that on the Xbox, but I really loved that the writing in that story. I thought it was a lot more nuanced and took that character that people know from their childhood that was a much different version of Lara Croft and females in video games, and it really put a mature, very interesting, introspective, like deep character building behind it, and I really enjoyed the journey with that character. So that's just one that I really enjoyed. But I do believe that there is a push towards making female characters more prominent, and I really appreciate that because as an actor, I noticed the opposite trend in Hollywood. There's less female roles that are out there as far as leads in movies. So to me, I feel like almost video games are more progressive because there's a lot more vocal advocacy.
At the same time, over 50% of gamers now are female. Have you seen that grow since you've been around?
I mean, yeah, I've been a gamer since like I said, I was in my mom's lap. So, but it certainly wasn't something that you associate, the average person on the street would associate with gaming. And I think the trend with mobile coming out through, obviously Facebook games, all that stuff, sort of an entry point into more women finding it more accessible. To me, even for years, I didn't have a console, so just an Xbox controller was complicated to me. Of course, now I'm pretty good. I like to say now I'm pretty good. But that transition, I can understand and empathize with that might be hard if you're not raised on it, and a lot of girls don't necessarily play video games because the culture doesn't encourage them to. So I think it's really cool that we're moving toward a time where a lot of more women are discovering games through like their phone or their social media site, and therefore that would lead to more different games that they try, more complicated games on console or wherever. At the same time, like because it's so more prevalent, girls are starting to game earlier, so they're becoming more part of the culture earlier, which will obviously pay off later. I mean, to me, a Friday night is playing a game versus going out, and that's just part of my world. So hopefully that's more and more people.
That they're showing at E3 and here are Oculus Rift virtual reality. What are your thoughts as a PC gamer about that technology?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I saw the Oculus Rift, the actual guy walking, which is amazing. I actually tried the Oculus Rift. I visited Valve and they let me try it out for TF2. I found, I'm one of those people who gets a little bit motion sick sometimes, so it's a little iffy with me, especially with FPSs. When I'm watching somebody else, I get a little bit sick. Whatever. I mean, it's just something in my head. I do get car sick too, so I'm not a very good passenger. But when I'm playing, I don't actually get car sick. So with the Oculus Rift, I did get a little bit dizzy, but it was only when I put my hand in front of my face that it wasn't there, because it was very immersive. So I don't know if that's going to become like the common thing if somebody has one of those in their house, but I think it's super interesting, and it opens up a world of innovation for game designers that could take us to the next level of whatever's going to be in 10 years.
Like Ready Player One, right? That world?
Exactly.
And they also have the Virtuix Omni, which allows you to walk and shoot in tandem with the Oculus Rift on display here.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I saw that at Nerd HQ, and it's, really interesting technology. Like I said, I don't know who's going to have that in their house, but that's the prototype that could be in 10 years something that is just a mat on your floor. Like, who knows? Who knows where people's imaginations could take us? But I'm excited to see where they go.
What excites you when you look into the future of video games?
I really love the storytelling in video games. I feel like, especially with BioShock Infinite and Last of Us, I played both of those, and I adored both of them for different reasons. But what I observed was that the storytelling was taken very seriously, and in both of them, I felt like they were comparable to storytelling in movie making. There was definitely a vision from an auteur sort of vision, at least a team was leading it, and really had a journey that they wanted you as a consumer to go through, just like a movie maker does. So I think that's a really interesting place to go, especially since movie making has become a lot more rigid and formulaic. There could be a lot of creativity to evolve in storytelling and characters, which is the thing that